Let's pick.
You know what's wild? A 6-year-old girl from Manila once picked up a tennis racket, and somehow that tiny decision shook the entire tennis world. Eala isn't just a tennis player. She's proof that sacrifice and resilience can rewrite destiny. From humble Filipino roots, she carved out an extraordinary journey no one saw coming. And here's where it gets even more inspiring. Eala was born on May 23, 2005, in Quezon City, Philippines. Now, I must say, the timing felt almost poetic. Filipino tennis desperately needed a new champion, and somehow this little girl arrived just in time. Her dad, Mike, wasn't just any parent cheering from the sidelines. He had been a tennis player himself, someone who understood the blood, sweat, and sacrifice it takes to make it in sports. Her mom, Eala, wasn't holding rackets or swinging forehands, but she became the emotional anchor of the family, the one who held everything together when the storms came. Growing up in a middle-class home meant love was plenty, but money, that was always tight. Tennis isn't cheap. You've got rackets, shoes, endless coaching fees, tournament entries, and every peso spent on Alex's dream was a peso pulled away from something else. But here's the beautiful part. Instead of being crushed by that pressure, the Eala family leaned into it. They didn't see a burden, they saw a chance to build something extraordinary. And from the very beginning, they made a pact. Alex's dream would be a family dream.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Eala. I'm 13 years old and I'm from the Philippines. When I was around 4 years old, I used to watch my older brother play a lot. So I decided to join in and I never stopped since.
Now this part blew my mind. Imagine being 6 years old, barely tall enough to see over the net, and already showing perfect coordination. That was Alex. The very first time she picked up a racket, her father noticed something different. Her movements weren't clumsy like most kids. They were sharp, instinctive, almost like she was born with the sport running through her veins. The family quickly realized this wasn't a hobby anymore. Weekends that could have been spent at malls or parks suddenly turned into tournament trips. Vacations, gone. Every spare peso went into her training. New shoes, entry fees, countless hours of coaching, it all added up. But here's the twist. None of this felt forced for Alex. She loved it. While other kids were glued to cartoons, she was glued to the court, chasing balls under the scorching Manila sun. But wait, this is where things got tough. The Philippines is beautiful, yes, but when it comes to tennis infrastructure, nowhere near the level of the US or Europe. Alex didn't have sparkling hard courts or private country clubs to train at. Most days, she was practicing on public courts with cracked lines, uneven bounces, and surfaces that punished her legs. And yet, she made it work. Her mornings started painfully early, sometimes before sunrise. She'd train, sweat through drills, then rush to school. Homework had to be squeezed in between practice sessions, meals, and travel. Think about it. While her classmates were hanging out after class, Alex was drilling forehands, dreaming about beating players she'd only ever watched online. That's the kind of grind that forged her. Every bad bounce, every long morning, every sacrifice, it all shaped the resilience that would later shock the tennis world.
Sa Le Petit Under 14 Tournament sa France.
And here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. By the time Alex was crushing local junior tournaments in the Philippines, it became painfully clear. If she stayed, she'd hit a ceiling. The talent was there, but the system couldn't carry her to the next level. So at just 12 years old, she did something that would terrify most adults. She left everything familiar behind and moved to Spain to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy. Can you imagine that? A little girl packing her bags, leaving her friends, her grandparents, her whole world, just to chase a dream. It wasn't just about training with better facilities. This was a culture shock of epic proportions. New language, new food, new rules. And let's be real, when you're 12, even sleeping in a different bed feels strange, let alone living on the other side of the world. Every phone call home reminded her of what she was missing. Birthdays, family dinners, even ordinary afternoons in Manila. But if she wanted to make it, this was the path. And Alex, even at that age, knew. Greatness never comes without sacrifice. But wait, it wasn't all sunshine in Spain. The first years were brutal. Imagine being a kid, sitting alone in your dorm after practice, holding back tears while your family laughed together on a video call thousands of miles away. On the court, things were no easier. She wasn't just training with peers. She was battling against some of the best juniors Europe had to offer. The intensity was cutthroat, and every mistake felt heavier because her family had sacrificed so much to get her there. And behind the scenes, the financial strain was crushing. Every tournament entry, every coach's hour, every flight ticket, it all stacked up. For her parents back in Manila, it wasn't just pride they felt. It was stress, worry, and the hope that their daughter's dream was worth every peso they were pouring into it. Then came the turning point. Alex started winning junior tournaments in Europe, and suddenly it all began to click. Those lonely nights, the exhausting drills, the homesickness, they weren't for nothing. People began noticing something different about her style. She wasn't just another junior player grinding forehands. Her game was a fascinating blend. Tactical intelligence drawn from her Asian roots, combined with the precision and discipline of European training. That mix made her unpredictable, dangerous, and above all, she became known for one thing: mental toughness. Even when the odds were stacked against her, even when matches looked lost, Alex refused to quit. She dug deeper, fought harder, and made people sit up and say, "Wait, who is this Filipina?" Those early wins didn't just build her confidence. They sent a message. Alex Eala was no longer just chasing dreams. She was starting to live them.
Taon pa ang kanyang pagkapanalo sa Philippine Independence Day, kaya inialay niya raw ang tagumpay.
This part still gives me chills. In 2021, Alex Eala walked into the French Open girls singles tournament, carrying not just her own dream, but the weight of an entire nation. And then, she did it. She made history, becoming the first Filipino ever to win a Grand Slam junior championship. Think about that. A girl who once trained on cracked public courts in Manila was now lifting a trophy on one of the biggest stages in tennis. Back home in the Philippines, it wasn't just another sporting event. Families stayed up past midnight, glued to their screens, holding their breath with every point. When Alex sealed the victory, social media exploded. The pride, the joy, it felt like the whole country had just won alongside her. And what did Alex do? She dedicated the win to every Filipino. She didn't just say, "I won." She said, "We won." That's the kind of champion she is. But here's the twist. Success in juniors doesn't guarantee success in the pros. And Alex knew that the second she stepped into the professional circuit, now she wasn't facing teenagers anymore. She was up against women who'd been grinding for years, players with massive experience, stronger bodies, and entire professional teams behind them. For Alex, every match felt like stepping into a storm. Critics were quick to raise eyebrows. Was she just a junior prodigy? Could she really handle the next level? The pressure was relentless, especially since she wasn't just any young player. She was carrying the flag of an entire country. Every win was celebrated, every loss dissected. But here's what makes Alex different. She didn't shy away from the challenge. She embraced it. She trained harder, studied smarter, and carried the same grit she'd built in Manila and Spain into every match. And slowly, step by step, she began proving everyone wrong. The jump to the pros was tough, yes, but Alex Eala was tougher. And here's where the spotlight burned even brighter. Once Alex started climbing the ranks, brands came knocking. To them, she wasn't just a tennis player, she was the face of Filipino pride on the global stage. Suddenly, she was a marketable ambassador, the kind of athlete companies dream of. Endorsements gave her something her family had long struggled with: financial stability. The stress of tournament fees, travel costs, and coaching bills eased a little. But here's the flip side. Every deal came with pressure. More eyes on her, more scrutiny after every single match. Fans dissected her losses, media questioned her wins, and sponsors expected her to shine every time she stepped on court. It's a heavy weight, but Alex carried it the same way she carried her racket, with focus and determination. She wasn't just selling a brand, she was carrying a nation. Now you might wonder, does she even have a personal life? Truth is, Alex has put almost everything else on hold. No distractions, no headline-grabbing romances. Just tennis. Her closest relationships remain tight. Her parents back in the Philippines, who still guide her career, and her coaching team in Spain, who've become a second family. And in the middle of it all, she balances two worlds: Filipino heart, European discipline. It's not an easy mix, but it's made her into the kind of athlete who can thrive anywhere. This part, honestly, is what makes Alex so special. She never forgets where she came from. She proudly waves the Filipino flag at every event, carrying values that run deep: resilience, loyalty, and sheer determination. Even while living in Spain, she keeps her roots alive through food, language, and constant connection to her people back home. When Alex walks onto a court, she isn't just representing herself. She's carrying millions of Filipinos who see her as proof that their dreams, too, can cross oceans and defy the odds. So where does all this put her financially? At just 20 years old, Alex's net worth is estimated around $500,000. And here's the thing, that number's only growing. Her income doesn't just come from tournaments. Endorsements, partnerships with Filipino brands, and collaborations with sports equipment giants all add up. She's even starting to branch into lifestyle ventures. It's not superstar money yet, but for a Filipina tennis player breaking barriers, it's groundbreaking. And let's be honest, this is just the beginning of her earning potential. But Alex's story isn't only about her own trophies. She's already looking ahead to something bigger. She's talked about one day building tennis academies in the Philippines, places where kids who can't afford expensive training abroad can still chase the dream. Think about that, turning her success into a pathway for others. It's not just about producing more champions, it's about changing the system, about making sure future generations don't face the same uphill battles she did. Alex doesn't just want to be remembered as the best Filipino tennis player ever. She wants to be remembered as the one who opened doors for everyone after her.
World number 2. Looking good in the Miami main draw.
So, what do we actually learn from her story? First, that success isn't just talent, it's sacrifice. It's leaving comfort zones, it's sleepless nights, it's family support when things get heavy. Alex proves that even a small nation, without the biggest resources, can produce world-class athletes. It takes grit, resilience, and an unshakable belief that dreams are worth chasing. Her story isn't just about tennis, it's a masterclass in perseverance.
I believed I could win, and she absolutely believed that she could beat Iga Swiatek today.
And let's not forget, Alex is still only 20. That's the craziest part. Her journey is still unfolding. Her best years are still ahead. She represents not only the future of Filipino tennis, but also the rise of Southeast Asia in a sport long dominated by the West. Every match she plays now feels like a glimpse into history being written. And if her past is any clue, the future is going to be even more spectacular. From cracked courts in Manila to Grand Slam glory, Alex Eala's story is just beginning. She's more than an athlete. She's a symbol of hope for millions. And trust me, the best chapters are still to come. So what's your take? Drop it in the comments, hit like, and subscribe. I've got more stories like this coming your way.